I guess first question is how are the businesses doing at this time? We're week 3 of the oil crisis, even though we only acknowledge it was a crisis this week. Ano yung mga complaints? What are the pain points, sir?
Well, of course, the main pain point is the cost ng ating petroleum products. The other concern here is there is demand, no? In some cases, demand has been dropping. In some cases naman, there is this significant increase because maybe some people are hoarding. Yung iba naman, because of the high prices of petroleum products, bumababa yung volume, no, sa ng industry. So, iba-iba depende sa industry yung impact ng the last few weeks.
As a sector at saka as industry groups, nag-uusap pa ba kayo? Meron kayong ilang mga forum on how to confront this crisis? What business can do either as a group or as industries?
Yes, we discuss. In fact, ang maganda, just a few hours ago, we were requested to attend the meeting. The request was made by DOF Secretary Frederick Go. And in that meeting, he invited the heads of the business groups. So nandun ang PCCI, MAP, MBC, Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, ECOP, and so on. And then pinag-usapan kung ano ba yung mga concern ng business, and at the same time, what can we do together. So it was a very, very good meeting. He also gave us advice na, ano yung fake news, ano yung mga latest update. So we're quite happy with that meeting, and we are looking forward to regular meetings to be updated both sides, no? What's happening on the ground, and at the same time, ano yung mga steps that the government is undertaking.
Sir, we've been getting different numbers. Some of them are wildly different numbers as to the supposed inventory, how much reserves we have of oil products. May 45 to 60. Tapos this morning, the President increased it to 90 kasi sabi niya hanggang katapusan daw ng June.
30.
So wildly different numbers. I'm wondering how the business community thinks about this apparent dissonance with the numbers, and you coming from also you with your background from an oil company, is there anything else? Is there anything that we should view these numbers with?
Yes.
What kind of lens should?
Yes, because most of the businesses have to operate based on a term of reference. At isa sa term of reference ay itong supply.
Gano'ng kasigurado meron kang
At
magamit?
siyempre, minsan ang gobyerno ay ino-overestimate yung kanilang numbers.
Over-optimistic.
Yung iba naman, ina-underestimate. So, ano yung tamang timpla for the business sector?
Well, first of all, this was also voiced by the business community. Nagkaroon ng discussion. One has to understand the numbers may be because, first of all, may number na what is the quantity of product that is already in country.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. And then, meron ding mga products na in transit. Ibig sabihin na naikarga na and it's already on the way, no, to the country. And then the third one is products which have been loaded pero hindi pa nakaka-depart dun sa kanilang port of loading. Okay? So yan yung tatlo na normally basis for saying ano bang stocks ang available. Now, ang isang nangyayari kasi is medyo fluid ang situation because the government and also the oil companies have been taking steps to try and secure supplies. For example, the government has been doing more government-to-government arrangements. So they've been talking to a number of countries, friendly countries. And very recently, there's this cargo of Russian product that has been, I think, purchased, no? And the crude will be delivered to the Petron refinery kasi crude oil ito It needs to be refined. And that one, normally, sanctioned country in Russia. But the US has advised that there is a temporary waiver of that sanction, no, sa Russia.
Yes, sir.
That's why we have been able to buy from Russia. So the oil companies as well as the government has been trying to diversify its supply source. And during the meeting with Secretary Decgo, he assured the business community that we have supplies well up until end of June. That's the number he gave, and he identified where those numbers are coming from. And the business groups naman, we have no reason to doubt that. Kasi magiging babalikan din si Secretary Go kung hindi totoo yung number na yon, no? So we trust Secretary Go, so we believe that yung number na binigay niya is an accurate number.
Sir, ang sabi niya sa inyo, we have supplies. I assume that means that we have them here already until the end of June? Kasi you give 3 different categories kanina eh. Merong in-country, in-transit, merong loaded. I suppose may fourth pa nga na in negotiation.
Yes, pero yung in negotiation din natin sinasama yon.
Yes, sir.
Even minsan nagno-nominate ka na ng cargo, pag hindi pa ina-accept nung seller, hindi rin natin sinasama yon.
Yes,
So
sir.
my understanding is yung sinabi ni Secretary Decgo includes yung in-country, in-transit, and yung loaded and about to depart for the country.
Okay, all 3.
So, hindi po magbabago yung mga contracts dito sa mga iloload, in transit, at nandito na. Walang pagbabago dyan. Dahil lahat yan may kontrata na eh.
Ang kontrata ng kontrata in terms of commitment of supply, pero ang pricing kasi ng normally ang pricing ng petroleum products and including crude is the average price normally of 5 days within the bill of lading date. So kunyari ang bill of lading mo is let's say March 3. Kukunin mo yung presyo ng March 1, March 2, which is before, 2 days before, and then March 4 and March 5, which is 2 days after. So that is normally how pricing happens, no?
Sir, yung crude that we've just got from Russia, it still needs to be refined. How long does refining usually take?
Mabilis lang yan. That's just a matter of 1 or 2 days, ayos na yan.
1 or 2 days. Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course, we all know the only refining facility is with Petron in Bataan.
Correct.
At the start of this war, so maybe some 2.5 weeks back, the government was already saying we have at least 45 to 60 days of supply. So I take it to mean all of that is in Petron's facility.
No,
At
when I think that includes in transit. Kasi this is how it works eh. The Department of Energy has a requirement that if you are a refiner, may refinery ka, you need to maintain a minimum of 60 days of stocks. Okay? But the definition, they have actually relaxed it. Kasi maintaining 60 days in country,
It's
that's a
expensive.
large amount of money. Okay? Working capital mo nakatayap sa stocks.
Yeah.
So they allowed yung definition to include in-country plus in-transit, yung on the way na sa atin. Okay? That's 60 days. Now, if you're a product importer, finished product importer, then the minimum requirement is 15 days. And again, it's the same, no? In country and then in transit. So, depende yan. If your source is, let's say, Singapore, mabilis yan. Within 5 days from departure to Singapore, nasa Pilipinas na yan. So, you can say na I will maintain a minimum of 10 days in country, tapos 5 days naman yung shipping ng produkto. So you can more or less manage your inventory and meet the legal requirement of the country.
But if I understood correctly, the DOE doesn't actually go and check the physical supply, whether it is good for 45 or 60 days, and they take the oil companies at their word. Is that correct?
That is correct. That
Okay.
is correct.
So reporting basis lang pala ito.
It's a matter of
Yes.
trust.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe one complication here is that in the old days when there were only nung regulated pa ang oil industry, there were only 3 oil companies: Petron, Chevron, and Shell. And all these 3 companies, they have a refinery. So lahat yan 60 days minimum. Okay, they had minimum. After deregulation and like what we have now, there are I don't know, I've lost track of how many oil companies there are. Marami na yung mga small oil players.
Yeah.
And many of them, especially yung masyadong maliit, mga traders ito eh. So you can expect opportunistic. And at this time, dito nagkakaroon siguro ng problema when you mentioned earlier in your program that there were stations that were saying close na sila, wala silang produkto. And I think Ronald identified the two possible reasons. One, talagang wala na silang produkto kasi hirap din sila sa working capital. Malilit lang itong mga ito, no? Or some of them may be hoarding. Sinasabi lang nila na wala ng produkto kasi alam nila in a few days time, there will be a 10 or 20 peso increase in the price. So, ikaw na muna magbebenta ngayon, okay lang, kasi may malaki ka namang kita after a few days. No? So, iba-iba yung pwedeng maging dahilan kung bakit sinasabi na walang produkto.
Which is of course illegal.
Oh yes, that's yung hoarding and that's illegal.
Yeah.
But ang problema natin is how many thousands of gasoline stations there are in the country?
Yeah.
14,000.
There are more than 10,000 stations na yata sa bansa natin, no? And I don't know it's not easy to actually monitor all these things. Besides, you also need equipment, no? Kasi underground yung mga tangke niyan eh. So you need mga special equipment to determine whether may laman ba yung mga underground tanks nila or wala.
Sabi nyo nga, Chair, na medyo magastos yung mag-stock ng oil, di ba?
Yes.
Para
Yes.
masama sa reserves, no? At ikalawa, hindi naman talaga nag-check yung gobyerno. They take the word for it ng mga big players, no? At ikatlo, wala naman ako masyadong nababalitaan na penalties kung sakaling may lumalabag dito sa either in transit o nandito na hindi pala nagagampanan yung reserve. So ano yung mga checks and balances para at least itong 30 days or 60 day na reserve ay talagang nai-implement, lalo na sa panahon na very volatile yung source natin ng oil, where 98% ay galing sa Middle East. So, how can we be sure, no? At ano yung katatakutan ng mga companies na ito na pwede silang parusahan? Hindi naman pala sila chine-check.
Hindi naman sa hindi sila chine-check, Ronald. Actually, the DOE in the past, they do random or spot checking. So, may pupuntahan sila, bigla na lang magpapakita doon sa isang depo para ma-check kasi nire-report dapat yung quantity eh. So they do that. Ngayon, ang pagkaintindi ko nowadays, they have increased this random checking. And many of the companies naman na kausap nila, yung mga malalaking companies, these companies have a reputation to protect, no? So when you're talking of the likes of Shell, Caltex, Petron, PTT, these are companies that will not actually risk, being against the law. So I believe na there are safeguards, and one of them also is you can also depende sa kausap mo kung these people are trustworthy or not.
Sir, you made mention earlier of the purchase of Russian crude oil and the waiver of the sanctions by the U.S. State Department. But the waiver is only good, I think, until April 11, which is just a few days from now, a little more than a week and a half from now. After that, for all you know, baka bumalik na yung sanctions. And that, I suppose, closes another door for for possible na pagbibili natin ng langis. Do you see any other
Source?
options? Yeah.
Yes. First of all, within ASEAN, merong mga ASEAN agreement among ASEAN countries, no. So yung mga oil producing countries, Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, ang alam ko may agreement yan with their fellow ASEAN member countries na tutulong in case of a crisis or emergency. Second, I know of, I won't mention the name, but I know of a company that has already secured a cargo from Canada. Okay. Now, kasi people say, no, dapat nag-diversify tayo ng supply sources. Tama naman yun. Kaya lang, pag kunyari sabi mo, bakit hindi ka bumibili ng marami sa Canada or sa Amerika? Kasi malayo yung
Magastos eh.
yung Canada or Amerika. So from a freight point of view, may penalty ka.
Yeah.
So ang tinitingnan ng mga kumpanya under normal conditions is to buy where they can buy at the best price. So yung pag sinasabi na dapat diversify ganyan. Ngayon binabanggit 'yon because we have a crisis. But under normal conditions, you really try to get yung source where it is best, no? And for us, normally we buy from Singapore, from Korea, from
Thailand.
let's say Japan, or even sometimes from China, no? So within yung pinakamalapit, but a lot of them also we buy like crude. Most of our crude comes from the Middle East. And so that's Petron at the moment, Petron na lang ang may refinery. Most of their crude will come from the Middle East, but they have a refinery which is quite complex. So yung refinery nila may flexibility to process different types of crude. Kaya itong Russian crude, kayang i-process sa Petron refinery.
On another point, Chair, dahil pinag-uusapan natin yung supply side ng crisis, no? At parang may assurance naman na hindi ganun kasama yung supply side na ito. Kung pag-uusapan naman natin yung other side ng crisis, yung price crisis, no, ng oil, paano naapektuhan yung ating mga negosyante? Halimbawa, yung nagde-deliver ng goods and services na ang utos ng presidente, ang utos ng gobyerno, huwag magtaas ng presyo. No? So,
Yeah.
how
2 buwan.
something has to give, no? Ayan, inaabsorb nila yung presyo ng pag-deliver nitong mga produktong ito, halimbawa farm to market. So, how do you cope?
Napag-usapan yan kanina since mga key items na diniscuss, no? It was clarified na wala namang at the moment hindi naman kinokontrol yung presyo. Pakiusap lang, kinakausap yung mga specific companies na kung meron pa kayong marami namang stocks na pwedeng ibenta and i-hold yung price increase, baka naman at this time tulungan ng gobyerno, especially yung public natin. So this is purely on a voluntary basis and hindi ito price control. Kasi we pointed out na pag nag-price control ng gobyerno, magkakaroon tayo ng hindi lang price crisis, magkakaroon tayo ng supply crisis. Kasi kung ikaw, negosyante, bakit ka bibili ng produkto na pag binenta mo lugi dahil may price freeze. So, naman, that was pointed out several times. And kaya nga nilinaw ni Secretary Go na the DTI has been going around more out of request than saying may price freeze.
Because a point that we keep coming back to is, of course, this is a free market and you can't really impose a price cap. But even now, sir, I mean, there's already talk, more than talk. There's a bill working its way through Senate to amend the oil deregulation law.
Or even repeal.
Or repeal even the oil deregulation law, which we here know na, I mean, the OPSF, for example, the Oil Price Stabilization Fund, wasn't managed so well back then, which is why naging deregulated tayo. But how is the business community looking at this?
No, as far as the business community is concerned, we're saying na that should not be pursued, no? Parang sinasabi mo, gusto mo i-repeal yung law of supply and demand, eh. Hindi ba? Dahil yung oil deregulation law, as you said in the past, it caused a lot of problems. And ngayon, mas mahirap ding i-implement yung ibalik mo yung regulation. Kasi nung araw, as I mentioned, 3 refinery, pare-pareho yung stock level niyan. The way prices were computed was ano yung binili mo o Shell, magkano yung binili mo nung January, February, o Caltex ganon, Petron magkano, and then kukunin yung average nun, and the average cost will be the basis for the price ng March, April. Okay? And okay lang yun, pare-pareho yung stock level, pare-pareho may refinery. Ngayon, iba-iba na yung mga oil companies. Merong isa may refinery, karamihan walang refinery. Yung isa 60 days ang stocks, yung isa 15 days ang stocks. So how do you manage that? And then ilang ilang oil companies are there? At marami pa dyan, mga yung small oil companies na hindi mo masabi kung legitimate ba ito o ano, no? So I believe na yung mga nagsusulong noon needs to be given a briefing kung what is different from before and what is the situation now. Yung mga countries that normally continue to be regulated are countries that have their own natural resources, their own oil and gas. That you can find in Saudi Arabia, in sa Indonesia and Malaysia are regulated in a sense, no. But even the country with one of the biggest production, the US, it's not regulated. In fact, prices change almost several times a day. It's a very dynamic pricing. And what keeps the players honest is the fact that maraming competitors. So the best way to keep the players honest is to ensure that there's a lot of competition.
But sir, is there a middle ground that's acceptable to everybody? I mean, not completely regulated but also not completely deregulated. In other words, kahit paano may control pa rin ng gobyerno when it comes
In times of crisis.
Oo, yung mga ganon. And perhaps more power to make sure that certain businesses do not
Take advantage.
take advantage of the situation. Is there a middle ground?
Well, yung kasing no one takes advantage, meron naman tayong mga existing laws eh. Yung price gouging, no? Sobrang taas yung presyo mo. That's against the law. Hoarding, against the law. So may mga batas. I cannot think of what middle ground ang maiisip natin. The only way you can say is government will say, "Oh, let's siguro sa mga oil companies, pwede bang lagyan natin ng cap? Pag anything above that, gobyerno ang magbabayad." Pero
As
with
a
the
subsidy, parang
fiscal pace
may
that the government has,
Yes, sir.
mahirap eh.
Yeah.
Di ba?
The very small fiscal space.
Pero at a certain point, Chairman, halimbawa lang, sana hindi naman, magpatuloy itong gera, patuloy yung pagtaas ng presyo ng gasolina, at definitely tataas lahat, no? Dahil wala namang price control. Sabi nga ni DA Secretary sa amin a few days back, ay basic commodities hindi tataas. Pero pag check ko sa palengke, tumaas naman ang bigas, tumaas ang itlog, no, etc. So dahil nga, sabi niyo nga kanina, pakiusap lang. Di ba? Pero wala namang tumataas na sahod eh. So at a certain point, something has to give. No? Kung wala nang mapakain yung mga urban poor sa kanilang mga anak at paggising nila sa umaga, makikita nila kumakalamang sikmura, pupunta yan sa mga ibang mga pamamaraan, kapit sa patalim, di ba?
Yes.
Kung puro
Yes.
pakiusap lang, baka hindi yan kayang i-sustain. Kung patuloy yung pagtaas ng presyo ng bilihin, na suggestion lang ay pakiusap lang ang magkocontrol, tapos yung mga sahod naman hindi tumataas, at yung ayuda ay may pagka one shot lang. So, medyo kailangan ng talagang intervention yung gobyerno.
Yes, as I said, meron namang mga batas para to ensure na yung pagtaas hindi sobra-sobra. Pero kahit na, let's say, wala namang illegal na ginagawa, talagang tumataas ang presyo. So that's where ang kailangan dyan, pinag-usapan din kanina, yung talagang targeted assistance na dapat bigyan ng gobyerno. And yan, whether ayuda, or ang isa pa pala na napag-usapan, siguro identify natin yung mga basic goods na kailangan na mabigyan natin ng support, no? Ano ba yung basic goods na napakahalaga sa mga tao? I mean, sardinas is one of them, bigas. So may mga ganong basic goods eh. But please remember na meron din tayong dapat na tingnan, which is the demand management, no? Kaya nga sabi namin kanina, we should already start resetting our economy. How can we be more efficient para yung increases in cost can be offset by higher efficiency or productivity? May mga binigay kaming example eh. And if you allow me,
Yes, go
for
ahead.
example, no, dun sa aming ginawang agricultural summit, we have been piloting a case where yung tinatawag backhaul, no? Kunyari, merong magpapadala ng bigas from Central Luzon papuntang Manila. Okay? Pabalik ng truck, walang laman yun normally eh. So, dito, we can actually start using technology para pabalik from Manila to Central Luzon, ano ba yung mga kailangan doon na pwede mo ikarga doon sa truck para effectively mahahati mo yung cost of logistics mo or delivery. And technology exists right now and we have been piloting this. So this is one example of how can we be more efficient and how can we reduce the cost, no? Fintech, marami pa ring tinitingnan tayo dyan na fintech. In fact, yung pagbibigay natin ng ayuda ngayon, cash pa. And nung nakaraan, maraming leakage dyan. No? Yung 5,000, merong mga kumukupit ng konti. Kaya yung final beneficiary, siguro 3,000, 3,500 lang yung nakukuha. So, marami tayong magagawa. Ngayon, meron na tayong mga Paymaya, GCash, GoTime, maraming pwedeng gawin. Kaya ang sabi namin, siguro upuan natin ito, tingnan natin, ano ba yung pwede nating mga magawa pa? Isang kaninang pinag-usapan is putting a renminbi desk, no? Kasi right now, if you look at our imports, karamihan galing China. Pero ang ginagawa ng Pilipino, yung peso mo papalitan mo ng dollars and then dollars papalitan mo ng Chinese renminbi, no? Now, kung pwedeng palitan mo na diretso from peso to renminbi, that reduces the cost, di ba? So maraming yung ating mga infrastructure, maraming demorahe, ang daming friction cost eh. So pinag-usapan din kanina, ano ba yung mga friction cost na pwede nating identify and make this crisis an opportunity for us to really streamline and make our economy more efficient. Tanggalin natin yung mga friction costs kung pwede, di ba?
Parang find a way to
Innovate at this time.
And make everything more cost efficient.
Anong sabi ni Secretary Go, Chairman, tungkol sa usapin ng corruption? Dahil isang major reset yung kailangan doon eh. At hanggang ngayon, wala namang big fish yung hinuhuli. Kahit daan-daang bilyon yung involved dito sa corruption. So, yun yung magiging problema rito sa mga taong nagugutom eh. At hindi tumataas ang sahod at tumataas ang presyo ng bilihin. Nakikita nila sa kanilang paligid, wala naman nakukulong eh. Tapos kami ang magbe-bear ng cost nitong crisis. So, that contradiction ay dapat alagaan. No? Lalo na kung hanggang ngayon ay wala pa rin makukulong. Yung iba kasi natin proposal are medium term to long term eh. Pero merong mga immediate na dapat ginawa kahapon.
Yes, totoo naman yan. Lahat tayo nagkakaisa dyan sa ganyang damdamin, no? All of us are outraged, no, by all these things that have happened. Hindi na pag-usapan kanina yan. Instead, I have had discussions with some other parts of government. And ang sabi nila, because I was asking, bakit ang tagal-tagal? Ang sabi natin noon by Christmas may maraming makukulong, no? Ang binigay na dahilan sa akin is they're trying to make sure na airtight yung mga kaso para hindi basta ma-dismiss. Kasi sabi nila, yung mga ma-accuse dito, maraming resources eh. So they can actually get the best lawyers and so just making sure that all of this are airtight. Yun ang pinaliwanag sa akin. Pero yung pagtulong sa iba-ibang mga sektor ng society, apart from yung targeted assistance, napag-usapan din things like and I hope I'm not preempting the Secretary of Finance, no? Pero pinag-usapan din ang suggestion ng private sector, baka naman pwedeng pag nagbigay ng additional allowance, baka naman pwedeng i-exempt na yon during this period of kunyari magbigay ng allowance sa mga manggagawa, wag na nating lagyan ng tax yun para naman mas malaki yung take-home pay nung ating mga kababayan. And the secretary was very open to that. Even yung personal deduction sa income tax. So sabi niya, tinitingnan din namin yan para lahat medyo may madagdag sa kanilang take-home pay. Maganda naman yung naging usapan dito eh. Kaya I'm hopeful na start lang to. Hindi naman, kanina was the first meeting. We had the 1.5-hour meeting. And I think it was very productive. The secretary with his team, they were taking notes and sinasummarize pabalik para mapag-usapan in more detail
Yeah.
pag may kinaklarify siya. So, you know, by the way, ang isang ni-recommend at least nung isang lumabas na recommendation, baka mas maigi pa wag nang alisin yung excise tax. Kasi right now, nung nilabas yung suggestion na yon, ang presyo ng mga produktong petrolyo is less than 100 pesos.
Yeah.
So, yung diesel, 6 pesos ang
6 pesos,
excise
opo.
plus 12% VAT, so 720. So, mga 10% reduction yon. Pero sa ngayon, at the prices right now, 130, 120, maliit na lang yung
Yes, sir. Lusaw na,
excise
sir.
tax
Yeah.
na
Yeah.
tatanggalin mo.
Yeah.
Tapos, kung kailangan na ituloy-tuloy natin yung targeted assistance,
Yeah.
yan paano yun? Alam naman natin dahil nga sa corruption ng nakaraan, we have limited fiscal space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kung iutang natin yan, di problema pa. Kaya, although we know that the business community is not entirely unified in terms of the view of excise tax,
Yeah.
no? But that was something that was raised, and
Yeah.
ako personally, I would prefer na itabi natin yon para magamit sa pagtulong sa mga
The
affected
subsidies.
sectors. And also, para magamit sa mga
Yeah.
pwedeng tinatawag na structural reforms.
Right.
No?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Na pwede na nating implement. Bilisan natin yung pagtatayo ng
Yeah.
mga cold storage,
Yeah.
improvement ng ports,
Oo.
para yun nga, bumaba
Yeah.
yung friction cost.
Oo.
No?
All very great points, and we would love to talk to you about it another day. We've run out of time for this guesting, but thanks so much for explaining
Thank you, sir.
all of that to us. Invite ulit namin kayo, sir, to explain some of the nitty-gritties of the oil
Yes, sir.
industry.
Salamat, Chair. Dahil gusto namin malaman yung sagot ng gobyerno doon sa excise tax.
Makati Business Club Chair, Mr. Edgar Chua.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.